Look, I've been staring at the salary cap and the depth chart for hours, and honestly, my heart is racing. We always talk about the future, about building something sustainable here in Indy, but what if the very foundation we built is starting to show cracks? I'm talking about the guys who define us. The blue-collar identity we pride ourselves on might be reaching an expiration date we aren't ready to face. It's scary because these aren't just names, they are the soul of our offense. If you love this team as much as I do, you need to hear this right now. We are approaching a crossroads that could change everything we know about the Colts. Stay tuned. Jonathan Taylor is currently the heartbeat of this backfield, but a massive storm is brewing on the horizon regarding his long-term stay in Indianapolis. When we look at the reality of the NFL, running backs often have a very short window of peak productivity, and we are quickly approaching the 2027 free agency period where Taylor's current deal expires. According to Matt Verderam's latest deep dive into roster health, the Colts are facing a terrifying reality where they might have to say goodbye to the most explosive weapon they've had since the Edge era. Taylor has been everything for us. Through the injuries and the contract disputes, he remained the engine. But the question is no longer just about talent. It is about the cold, hard math of the salary cap and the inevitable decline of the position. We saw how hard the negotiations were last time, and that tension hasn't really gone away. It's just been sitting there, waiting for the clock to run down. Verderame points out that while Taylor is still elite, the team has to decide if paying a premium for a veteran back in 2027 makes sense for a franchise trying to build around a young quarterback. It's a gamble. If we keep him, we risk overpaying for declining years. If we let him walk, we lose the guy who makes this offense click. This isn't just about one player, though. This is about a philosophy. Are we a team that stays loyal to our homegrown stars? Or are we becoming a ruthless organization that cuts ties before the fall? The reports coming out right now suggest that the front office is already starting to weigh these options, and the vibes are definitely shifting. You can feel it in the way the media is framing these discussions. It's no longer a matter of if, but when the hard conversations start. The risk of losing a generational talent like Taylor is enough to keep any Colts fan awake at night. But believe it or not, as big as Taylor is to this team, there is another pillar of this roster whose potential exit might actually be even more devastating for the locker room and the integrity of the offensive line. We are talking about a guy who has been a perennial All-Pro and the literal bodyguard of our franchise. If both of these guys leave at the same time, this team will be unrecognizable. We need to look at the second half of this puzzle right now. I need you guys to drop a comment right now. Can you even imagine this offense without these two leaders? If you want to stay updated on every single roster move the Colts make, hit that subscribe button and like this video. It helps me keep this channel running for the fans. Now, let's talk about the big man up front. Quenton Nelson is the name that should truly terrify fans when discussing the 2027 free agency. While the running back situation is always volatile, the offensive line is supposed to be the one thing you can count on. Nelson has been the gold standard at guard since the moment he stepped onto the field in a Colts uniform. He changed the culture. He brought that nasty, physical edge that we desperately needed. But Matt Verderame is raising some serious red flags about his longevity and the cost of keeping a legendary guard as he enters his 30s. By 2027, Nelson will have a lot of miles on those tires. He has played through countless injuries and moved mountains for this team. But at what point does the price tag exceed the production? We are looking at a potential departure that would leave a massive void on the left side of our line. Losing Taylor is a blow to the highlight reel, but losing Nelson is a blow to the very safety of our quarterback. This is where it gets interesting because the Colts have historically prided themselves on having a top-tier offensive line. If they let Nelson walk, it signals a total shift in how Chris Ballard or whoever is in charge at that time views roster construction. You don't just replace a guy like Nelson through the draft easily. He is a once-in-a-decade type of player. The report suggests that the team is evaluating the technical decline versus the salary cap hit, and the numbers are starting to look ugly. We've seen other teams let elite guards go and their entire offense collapsed. Is that the path we are heading toward? The tension in the building has to be high because these players know their value. They see the market exploding. They see other stars getting paid. If the Colts aren't willing to match the market in 2027 because of age concerns, we could see a total exodus of the veteran leadership that holds this locker room together. It's a nightmare scenario where our identity is stripped away in a single off-season. We have to ask ourselves if we are okay with a complete rebuild of the core because that is exactly what is on the table according to these analysts. The impact of losing a guy like Nelson goes far beyond the field. It affects the confidence of everyone in that huddle. Without his protection, everything we are trying to build with our young talent could be at risk of falling apart before it even begins. The context here is that the Indianapolis Colts are entering a window where they must maximize their current talent while preparing for a financial crunch. We've seen this story before in the NFL. A team drafts well, develops stars, and then suddenly the bill comes due. The impact of having both Jonathan Taylor and Quentin Nelson hitting the market or facing potential cuts at the same time is catastrophic. We're talking about the two players who have defined the post-Luck era for us. If they both exit, the ripple effect will be felt across every position group. The running game will lose its explosive element, and the pass protection will lose its most reliable anchor. From a fan's perspective, this feels like a betrayal of the Colts way. We were told we build through the draft and reward our own. But the reality of the 2027 cap suggests that loyalty might be a luxury we can no longer afford. What happens to the team's morale? What happens to the development of our young quarterback if his best weapons and protectors are gone? The future looks incredibly murky right now. Matt Verderrame's analysis isn't just a guess, it's a warning based on technical performance and historical contract trends. Both players have dealt with physical tolls that make long-term, high-guarantee contracts a massive risk for the front office. We have to face the fact that the Colts might choose the business's side over the family side. This could lead to a period of transition that lasts years. We've struggled enough to find consistency. Imagine going back to square one with the offensive line and the backfield simultaneously. The emotional weight of this can't be overstated. These guys are the faces of the franchise. They are the jerseys we buy. They are the reason we show up on Sundays. If they are gone, who are we? The impact on the field will be a decrease in efficiency and a lack of veteran presence in crucial moments. This is the moment where we find out what this organization truly values. Is it winning at all costs, even if it means cutting ties with legends? Or is it maintaining a culture of loyalty that might hinder the cap? The next couple of seasons are basically an audition for these two icons to prove they are worth the risk, or we might be watching their final acts in the Horseshoe. At the end of the day, this is about more than just football. It's about the identity of the Indianapolis Colts. We are witnessing the potential end of an era, and it hurts to think about. Jonathan Taylor and Quentin Nelson represent the best of us: hard work, elite talent, and a commitment to this city. If the front office decides to move on in 2027, it won't just be a roster move. It will be a statement that the past is over. The significance here is that we are at a turning point. We are moving away from the stars we know and into a terrifying unknown. As fans, we have to prepare ourselves for the possibility that our favorite players won't retire in the blue and white. It's a cold reality of the league we love. We have to trust the process, but man, it's hard when the process involves letting go of legends. So I have to ask you guys one more time. If you had to choose only one to keep for the long haul, would you save the explosive playmaking of Taylor or the ironclad protection of Nelson? Or is it time to move on from both and truly start over? This is the toughest question we've faced in years, and there's no right answer that doesn't hurt. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of the fallout from this developing story as we get closer to these deadlines. We are in this together, through the highs and the lows. The road ahead for our Colts is looking rocky, but we'll be here every step of the way to see how it unfolds. This team is at a breaking point, and the decisions made in the next 24 months will define the next decade of Indy football. Don't go anywhere, because the news is just starting to heat up. Go Colts!